The Indus Valley Civilization is commonly known as one of the cradles of human civilization alongside ancient Mesopotamia and ancient Egypt. Located in what is now Pakistan and northwest India, this civilization thrived between 3300 BCE and 1300 BCE, with its most prominent cities being Harappa and Mohenjo-Daro. What made them so special? They represent some of the earliest examples of advanced urban planning in the world. Even today, they remain the only cities from the ancient world that featured sophisticated systems of drainage and sewage disposal. In fact, it was the excellent state of preservation of these two cities that shocked Westerners the most when they were rediscovered in the early 20th century. This is because most ancient cities elsewhere had been completely obliterated by thousands of years of erosion or development. But due to a combination of factors including the arid climate of the Indus Valley and the fact that both cities were abandoned around the same time, their structures remained largely intact until modern times. One immediate thing that stood out to archaeologists was the remarkable condition of their plumbing. The residents of Harappa and Mohenjo-Daro had access to running water and indoor plumbing in their homes, bathrooms, and public buildings. For example, at Mohenjo-Daro, archaeologists found streets lined with public bathrooms that each featured a small room with a toilet, sink, and even a bath. These were some of the earliest public restrooms in human history, and likely a key factor in the spread of sanitation across the ancient world. But perhaps even more impressive is that these bathrooms were connected to an advanced system of sewers that ran underneath the city. Yes, you heard that right. The residents of Mohenjo-Daro and Harappa used pipes to carry away their wastewater. At certain points, the pipes even extended beyond the city walls. Sophisticated sewage systems like this were unheard of in most parts of the world until the Middle Ages. And even then, many medieval European cities didn't have anything close to the Indus Valley's plumbing. In addition to public bathrooms, private homes also featured indoor toilets and bathrooms. In fact, some houses even included multiple bathrooms. Archaeologists believe that the plumbing was created by cutting small holes in the floors of rooms and directing the waste into covered drains. Once the waste exited the house, it would flow through a series of underground channels and be directed away from the city. Although we can't know for sure how exactly they managed to keep their plumbing functional, we do know that the system stayed in use for centuries. In other words, the people of Harappa and Mohenjo-Daro knew how to maintain their infrastructure and likely had a team of workers who regularly cleaned the drains and fixed any damages. Due to this advanced system of drainage, the cities didn't become inundated with waste, and the public spaces remained clean. This was another aspect of life in the Indus Valley that was far ahead of its time. To be clear, while most of the ancient world lacked indoor plumbing and proper sewage systems, there were exceptions. For example, the Minoans of Crete developed a sophisticated plumbing system around the same time as the Indus Valley Civilization. However, after the Minoan civilization collapsed, the technology was lost and the Greeks who came after them did not inherit the plumbing of their predecessors. As for the Indus Valley, we don't know exactly why their plumbing and overall urban planning was so advanced, but some scholars have noted similarities between their architecture and that of contemporary Mesopotamia. Given that both regions are considered cradles of civilization, this isn't surprising. What is surprising is that the Indus people were able to achieve such heights in sanitation without the aid of the wheel. Archaeologists have yet to find any evidence of wheeled vehicles in the region, which makes the sophistication of their cities all the more remarkable. Another thing that stood out to archaeologists was the layout of the cities. They had a rectangular grid layout, which means that the streets were laid out in a uniform pattern, much like the streets of modern cities. Most cities during this time period were just a jumble of buildings with irregular shapes and narrow, winding streets. So the organization of Harappa and Mohenjo-Daro was yet another thing that set them apart. In short, the cities of the Indus Valley were marvels of engineering. Even today, they'd be hard to replicate with modern technology. So it's no wonder that Westerners were so shocked when they were discovered. In many ways, the Indus Valley represents one of the greatest lost civilizations of the ancient world. We hope that someday more of its secrets will be uncovered. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to check out our other content. Thanks for watching.